Okay, so yesterday in the hockey world, there was one player whose first name is Conor that was making all the headlines. We were talking about this guy and his future in the league. We were talking about his status, his skill set, and his overall profile. Today we are talking about Conor Garland. Yeah, you thought I was going to say Bedard? No, sorry. We can talk about him some other time. But I get it, yesterday was Connor Bedard's first NHL game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, but I wanted to focus on a different Connor in the NHL world that did make the rounds in conversations on social media yesterday. Conor Garland of the Vancouver Canucks is in a very interesting spot, because as a 27-year-old, 5'8", 181 right-handed forward, he's making $4.95 million a year till the end of 2026, and considering the point production he is capable of getting, he got 46 points in 81 games played last year and 52 points the year before that, it's fair to say that Conor Garland's contract may not be all that bad. Like, sure, $5 million is a pretty steep amount, but for a guy who could get 50, maybe 55 points if he's lucky, that's not the worst thing in the world. However, yesterday we had word that Conor Garland ended up changing agents, and via Elliotte Friedman, his source says that there is word this afternoon that the Vancouver Canucks have granted Conor Garland permission to talk to other teams about a potential trade. The Canucks have a tight cap situation, and this is to see if there is a better fit around the NHL. Harman Dale went out there and replied to this idea, saying that Conor Garland did not deny the rumors about seeking a fresh start, but he also maintained that his sole focus is on the start of the season. He also confirmed that he has changed agents within the last 48 hours. Here's Jason Gregor of Daily Faceoff giving his scoop. I've been told that Conor Garland asked for a trade in the summer. Vancouver tried to move him, but there are no takers yet. It went public today, but the Canucks have been trying to appease his trade request for a few months. With a $4.95 million cap hit and so few teams with cap space, it is a hard trade to make. Here is what Grady went out there and replied. This is kind of the analysis or the summary of everything. Garland asked for a trade after the Canucks couldn't facilitate a move for a while now with no sweeteners, and today that trade request with the agent change is made public. Garland didn't deny it either, so now it's on how to go out and up his value by playing well. So the thing is, with Conor Garland being a part of an agency that is a lot more aggressive and hopefully is going to facilitate some sort of a trade by asking around to other NHL teams, trying to sell on their clients, saying, hey, this Garland guy, he wants a move, he could be a useful fit for your team. This is really similar to what we had seen last year with Vancouver Canucks fellow winger, right-handed guy as well, Brock Boeser. Because, if you remember, there were rumors that said that Boeser and his agent were given the rights or the permission by the Vancouver Canucks to ask around other teams and try to facilitate a trade themselves. Now, what that normally means is that, in a worst-case scenario, the Vancouver Canucks already tried with their own hands to make a trade and sell Conor Garland to another team, albeit with no success. So nowadays, if it's the agent that's given the permission, it's pretty much like a last-case scenario, like a lifeline sort of thing, where it's like, yeah, we tried to sell your client to another team, agent, but we can't do it. So now it's on you. We'll give you the permission to negotiate on our behalf and try to get some other team to bite on Conor Garland and his $5 million AAV contract. Ultimately, things didn't work out with Brock Boeser. He stuck around. He was still a part of the Canucks organization, but with more positive news in mind, he did improve his season as the year went on, and now he is committed to staying in Vancouver, which is a good outcome, but it's not the one that we thought would have happened a year ago when we heard initially that him and his agency were given the rights to explore a trade. So with Conor Garland being the next guy on this list, what exactly is the reasoning here? Why is Conor Garland in a spot where now he might just ask out? Well, as we had said last season, he did decline point production-wise from the season he had prior, and it's interesting to note, but when Conor Garland was playing under Travis Green in 21-22, there was a period where he was like the best player on the team, straight up. He was useful in all situations, he was agitative, he was moving around the offensive zone, scoring tight sniping goals, fighting guys, hitting guys, just doing what it is that Conor Garland does well. But after Travis Green got the can and Bruce Boudreau came in, things started to look a little bit worse. You started to see Brock Boeser get a little bit better. But Conor Garland had the opposite effect. His numbers got significantly worse, he wasn't as useful, nor was he as effective. Carry over into the season after where Bruce Boudreau starts out and then he gets fired and Rick Tocchet comes in. Conor Garland has somewhat of a worse year, but now heading into 2023-2024, you have a projected situation that might get even worse. Because with wingers like Andrei Kuzmenko, Phil DiGiuseppe, Brock Besser, Anthony Beauvillier, and Ilya Mikheyev when he comes back, Conor Garland is not guaranteed a top 6 spot on this team. If you wanted to say that Miller, Besser, and DiGiuseppe are going to stick together, okay, that's great. If you wanted to say Pettersson and Kuzmenko are going to stick together, okay, that's great. Right now, Daily Faceoff lists Conor Garland as the right winger on that line, but how far is that going to stay? Once Mikheyev gets better, does he take that top spot? Does Beauvillier slip in there once in a while too? The point is, Conor Garland is not going to be guaranteed as much ice time as he probably would prefer if he wants to live up to the contract and live up to the 50-point potential he had last year. There are just too many wingers on this squad, and that's not even talking about guys like Podkolzin or Höglander. So, with this idea in mind, the same age-old question ends up presenting itself once more. Where are the Canucks going to send their extra wingers? If you have a guy like Conor Garland making $5 million a year on your third line, that's probably not ideal. Like, just saying, from a cap management point of view, from a deployment point of view, ice time situational dependency point of view, you probably don't want your third liners making $5 million a year. And if Conor Garland is in a spot where, in the top 6, his role is not guaranteed, he may only be there as a placeholder for the moment, it's easy to understand why he himself would say, yeah, sorry, I kind of want to go somewhere else. The thing is, the contract is not cheap. $5 million is okay for a guy who gets 50 points, but $5 million is still $5 million, and there are so few NHL teams that have the necessary funds to just get a guy like that, no questions asked. So, if there is some sort of a trade with a draft pick or something, it's going to have to be to a team that's got a lot of cap space. If the Canucks are able to get, let's say, a right-handed defenseman in some sort of trade, then we'll see if that's able to work itself out. And then you had yourselves also the comments made by Rick Tocchet, how Conor Garland specifically has not told Tocchet himself that he wants a move. So directly to the coach, everything seems to be easy peasy alright, but as we have heard from Friedman and the other insiders, there was apparently a trade request in the summer. The Canucks were not able to get it done. There were a ton of rumors throughout the summer as well. I mean, we made a lot of videos, just trade update, Conor Garland, Brock Besser, one of these guys going to get moved, too many wingers, etc., etc. But now, it's all public because the guy got a new agent, and that agent has apparently been given the permission to sell his client to other NHL teams. Whether or not this means a trade for Garland within the next few days or within the next few weeks, maybe he gets traded right before the Edmonton game later tonight. Who really knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Conor Garland trade situation here in Vancouver? The guy's a pretty alright player, I'm not going to deny his skill set, but for what the Vancouver Canucks have, you could debate that his dollar amount and his position on the team isn't really all too useful as it would be if he was playing top 6 minutes on another team. Do you think the Canucks are going to be able to find a Garland trade soon? And what is the price you think he goes for? Is it a second round pick or a third? Interesting to note how this actually would have been a huge loss for Vancouver when you consider the other factors in the trade that sent him to Vancouver in the first place. If the Canucks are able to get Conor Garland off their team for a first-round prospect, then okay, that is totally fine, but that's probably not going to happen. Maybe a bust first-round prospect that isn't really working out. If it's a first straight up, though, hey, that's totally fine, but I don't believe that's ever going to happen. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about these Conor Garland trade rumors? He apparently wants out. His agent is now going to try to facilitate a trade. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.